let's have some fun. Bold predictions for 2025 up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Saturday, September 14th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and Scott actually has an article which is live on the website, cbssports.com, with 20 bold predictions for next season. I have chosen 5 of them. Scott doesn't know which 5 I chose, so let's jump in. Up first, Spencer Schwellenbach is better than Spencer Strider.
Yeah, this is one of those bold predictions that I'm not sure I actually believe, but I'm making a point here. I'm making a point that Spencer Schwellenbach legitimately has ace potential, just like Spencer Strider does. I'm not worried about Spencer Strider. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. He didn't actually have ligament damage in that elbow, remember. Just had a bone spur that was putting pressure on the ligament, ended up having internal bracing surgery. I think he'll be fine for opening day. I think he'll be good. But Schwellenbach has elite strike throwing ability and elite swing and miss ability. Since he began getting more swinging strikes in the second half, you take that rate, you take the overall strike percentage, and the only 2 pitchers who rank as high in those 2 categories as Schwellenbach down the stretch here have been Tarek Skubal and Shota Imanaga.
Next up, Lawrence Butler has a higher combined home run and stolen base total than James Wood.
Yeah, so James Wood is going to get tons of hype going into next season. Was arguably the top prospect in baseball when he got called up and has looked fine here in his major league debut. But he does have a pretty big risk factor and a near 60% ground ball rate, which I'm sure he'll be able to overcome at some point in his career. Will it be next year? I can't say for sure, but I know he's going to be drafted a lot higher than Lawrence Butler, who to me has just as much upside, arguably, since July 1st, 326 batting average, 19 home runs, 10 steals, a 1043 OPS. And while I might have dismissed it in the past for Lawrence Butler because of the swing and miss in his game, it's only like an 18% strikeout rate since July 1st. So it seems to me like Butler's just overcome it. I think the discount will make him the more appealing pick.
At this time last year, Scott predicted Tarek Skubal to win the AL Cy Young Award in 2024. Well, Scott, looks like you're going to be right about that one. Next up, Bailey Ober wins the AL Cy Young Award next season.
Yeah, so before you reach for that wallet, I'm not quite as confident in this Ober pick as I was in the Skubal pick at this time a year ago, but Bailey Ober, I do think, has the ability to contend for that Cy Young Award. So he's a proven strike thrower. He's also really good at hit prevention because of how many weak fly balls he allows. It all adds up to him being a whip standout and, in turn, an ERA standout. There have been a couple starts this year where things just kind of spiraled on him, and he ended up with really ugly stat lines. If you take away his first start of the season and you take away the 9-run disaster that happened here just a couple weeks ago, take away just those 2 starts for Bailey Ober, he has a 2.85 ERA and a 0.88 whip on the year. And this is for like a big 6'9" guy who is built to take on a lot of innings and has started to pitch deeper into games. So I think he takes that to another level next year and winds up being a true ace.
Next up, Garett Crochet also wins a Cy Young Award, but Garett Crochet pitches in the AL. Explain yourself.
I'll explain myself. He gets traded, and he gets traded to an NL team. Obviously, that's the only way he and Ober could both win a Cy Young Award. So I think the White Sox would be just totally foolish not to trade Garett Crochet this offseason. They've basically kept him in bubble wrap the entire second half, I think, because they know they need to preserve his value. He's only 2 years for free agency, and he's considered an ace caliber pitcher right now. So they need to cash in on that. If he gets hurt at any point during this 2-year window, he's going to lose so much trade value. They got to take advantage of this offseason And just playing the odds, there are 15 NL teams they could trade him to, only 14 AL teams they could trade him to. So I think I'm betting here he goes to the NL, and he just continues to do what he did here in 2024, which is lead all starting pitchers in K- walk rate and xFIP.
Last but not least, we usually talk about prospects on this bonus episode. Jackson Jobe, Quinn Mathews, and Bubba Chandler all make the opening day roster for their respective teams.
Yeah, so again, those names are Jackson Jobe of the Tigers, Quinn Mathews of the Cardinals, and Bubba Chandler of the Pirates. Jackson Jobe, you're probably plenty familiar with. He was regarded as one of the top pitching prospects even coming into this season. But Quinn Mathews and Bubba Chandler have seen their stock tick off this year. And I make this comparison. These three are it's a similar situation. They're pitchers, obviously, as the three hitters, the three stud hitting prospects who made the opening day roster last year: Wyatt Langford, Jackson Chourio, and Jackson Merrill. It's, of course, harder to justify a pitcher on an opening day roster than a hitter because you run into workload concerns down the line if they're accumulating like a starter from the very start of the year. But we saw the Pirates do it with Jared Jones, and I think if Jackson Jobe, Quinn Mathews, and Bubba Chandler make a strong enough impression next spring, we'll see it for them too.
Again, if you want to read more bold predictions, you can find them on the website, cbssports.com/fantasy/baseball. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, you can listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again next week. Bye-bye.